Sarah, and I am going to show you how I use Thrill data to plan for my Disney trips. And I've used this many times when I've gone to Disney World, but I'm going to be going to Disneyland in 2 weeks, and I'm really not as familiar with Disneyland. We've only been there once, and it was years ago. So this is going to be really helpful for me because I don't have as much knowledge about Disneyland. So here's what I do. They actually have these times tracked for the wait times and when the lightning lanes run out for each ride. Lots of things they track for all kinds of parks. And when you go, first of all, you're going to see that they have you on the current day's date is the automatic default. So what I like to do is first of all go to the previous day so that I have an entire day's worth of data, and then you'll see, now we've got a whole day's worth of data. First of all, we're going to see, okay, this is just a 5 out of 10 wait day. So this is not a super crazy day. So I'm going to take that into account when I'm looking at these times. And you'll see here they do show the average wait times on this graph and kind of how they go up throughout the day and then go back down. Now, this is actually showing me all of Disneyland. So it's showing me California Adventure and Disneyland all in one place. But what I really want to see is exactly one park at a time. So I'm going to scroll down here and just go to Disneyland. Okay, so I'm going to look at Disneyland first. And now when we're on this page, it's telling us again, current day's stuff. So I want to go to the previous day. And then it does have along the left-hand side here, the hardest lightning lane ride slots to get. So this is really helpful for me because I am used to these running out, but I never know which ones are the harder ones to get at Disneyland because I'm used to Disney World. So as we can see here, these are the ones I should prioritize getting first. However, a big difference, and I've heard this and I'm seeing this here on the right-hand side with the sellout time, is that I don't need to really worry about these running out super early in the day. I mean, for the earliest for one of these to run out is at 4:41 p.m. I've heard this, and this just confirms it for me, that most of the day you can book and pretty quickly get in for your lightning lane, whereas for Disney World, at least, and again, they've changed their system over at Disney World recently, but in the past at Disney World, I would have to be careful because lightning lanes could run out much earlier in the day than this. So this is good news to see. Also, keep in mind, some of these are lightning lanes you have to pay for, like Rise of the Resistance is actually a paid lightning lane. And so what I've heard is really different at Disneyland is that when you buy the single pass lightning lane is what it's now called, where you have to purchase it individually for the premium ride. At Disney World, those can sell out really early in the day, whereas at Disneyland, they sell out later, but also you cannot pick an individual time slot. So you kind of just book it and then go to the ride instead of scheduling it ahead of time, like all the way at 7 a.m. in the morning or, earlier in the day, picking a time slot. At Disneyland, you can't pick an individual time slot for later in the day. You just get whatever's next. So, all right, we're looking at these rides, and this shows us, kind of our priority of which ones we want to get. But what I also want to look at is dive in a little bit deeper and scroll down and look at the wait times. So again, this is showing us which ones have the longest wait. And this is important because we might have some rides here that don't have lightning lanes. Disneyland, a lot of their rides don't have lightning lanes. And so if there is one that has a long wait, then but it doesn't have a lightning lane, that tells us, okay, we need to really prioritize that. So let's go down to Genie Plus data. So what I like about this graph is you want to pay attention to the green, yellow, and red. And basically they're telling us when the return time is. So the earlier in the day for the return time, it's green. And then it gets, in the evening, the return times are red. And then when there's no lightning lanes left, then it's grayed out. So the reason I would look at this is see, okay, Some of these get read sooner, so that means they've given out all of these early spots for Indiana Jones, and they start, if you look at, for example, this time at 9:35 in the morning, you're getting a return time of 2:05 in the afternoon. So this is going to be really important to prioritize the ones that get read faster, like Space Mountain is also one that's going to have further out return times. And also, if you scroll down, let's see, those are probably the two big ones. And then I guess right here, we can see, I think this ride had a problem the day before because they didn't have any spots for a while, and then it ran out. But yeah, so this gives me a good idea. Now, what I also like to do, instead of just looking at one day's worth, let's zoom back out, we can actually look at the past week on average. And I like that better because now when we scroll up, it's saying this data is for the past week. So let's zoom back in because, Roger Rabbit's was actually a little bit off yesterday. So I like to see the week at a time and give me a better idea. And I actually don't look at this data too far out for my trip. I'll look at it today, but then I'll also look at it again, even just the night before my trip, the night before I go, see if there's anything weird going on. But yeah, again, I'm seeing Indiana Jones and Space Mountain are clearly ones that we need to prioritize. However, I've looked ahead and it looks like Space Mountain is going to be closed for our trip. So that means this might shift around a little bit, which is why I'll need to check this again as we get closer to our trip to see, okay, now if we don't have Space Mountain, what's going to take that spot of the next hardest one to get if that one's not available anymore. So this is really helpful. Again, if you look at, for example, Small World, as you go throughout the day, really it's like you can get a lightning lane for 10 minutes later. So that one will be really easy to get. A lot of them are pretty easy and really don't run out. It's just a few of them that we want to prioritize or rope drop. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit further. This is a very similar graph that they show us, and this is the lightning lanes, but they're saying the minutes to return time. So really showing us kind of the same thing, just in a different way, where they're saying, okay, if you get this at 8:30 in the morning, 5 minutes later, you'll be able to get on the ride. So instead of saying the time of day that the return time is, they're saying how far away is that next return time. So again, this should be very similar to the last graph. And what I'm going to do actually is again, go down, let's see, minutes. This is just data for yesterday. It doesn't look like it's letting me pick for an average of the week. So, that's very similar. I'm just going to scroll down. This is also going to show me the Disneyland wait time heat map. So it's going to show me more than just the ones with the lightning lanes. Are there what the average wait times are throughout the day? And so you can see here we have a 90-minute for Matterhorn. And then look, it must have shut down. So that was something that happened the day before. Now let's zoom out and see, are they going to let us do it? Can I change it? This is just 1 day's worth. So they're not letting me do the average on this one. But if we scroll through, what I've noticed, and this kind of confirms what I've heard, Peter Pan doesn't have a lightning lane in Disneyland like it does at Disney World. And so here we can see it actually, even though it doesn't have a lightning lane, it has pretty good wait times. I mean, this is, above 30 minutes a lot of the day. So that's why people say to prioritize this one early in the morning at rope drop, because it is going to be a wait otherwise. Whereas some of the other ones that don't have lightning lanes, for example, Mr. Toad's, it's usually under 20 minutes. It's looking like a little bit better than Peter Pan's. But then these other ones that do have longer waits, typically those have lightning lanes. And so, for example, the Matterhorn, we could get a lightning lane for that, I think. All right, so that's another way to look at the data. And scrolling down, there's some other things like they show you by the day of the month, I believe, Monday, what the wait times, average waits were. So if you're really trying to look at what days are busier, there's more data like that. But I'm not going to go through all of that. Now what we're going to do is look over at California Adventure. So I'm going to scroll down here and find other parks and look for California Adventure wait times. Okay. So again, it's going to start with showing me just today's data. I want to go to the previous day and look at a full day's worth of data. And then scrolling down, I really want to pay attention to the hardest lightning lanes. So here, it's interesting because it's saying the sellout time for Guardians was pretty early, like 1:12 in the afternoon. So that is a little bit earlier in the day, so we'd want to prioritize that one. The paid lightning lane at California Adventure right now is Radiator Springs, and that one didn't sell out till later at night. So it looks like we'll probably be able to get that if we end up wanting to pay for it. We don't need to worry about that running out, really. It's going to be available most of the day. So here we see, what's interesting to me is that Goofy Sky School ran out, and then Toy Story Mania, I've heard that's busier at Disneyland. So, and then we've got Incredicoaster and then Web Slingers and so a couple others. Let's go down here and look at the wait time. So again, kind of makes sense. Guardians and Radiators are having the longest wait times. And then we've got Soarin' and a few others here. Let's go down to the Genie Plus data or the Lightning Lanes and look at what is going away the fastest. Now, it looks like Little Mermaid was not up this morning. Let's zoom out and change this to the past week so that we can get a better idea. And now when we zoom back in, we can see that usually Little Mermaid is available all day. The ones that are getting read the fastest are that Guardians. It looks like it is, like, if I'm trying to do it 11 o'clock, it's already at 7:15 at night. And again, this, for the average for the week, we're seeing, there's some availability here, but it does start to run out around 1 something. We're losing times, and then it's just kind of spotty. So Guardians is going to be a priority for us. And then other than that, really most of them have availability all day. Really, that's the only one I'm really concerned about. Most of these, this is so much easier in Disneyland. Really, you guys, when I look at Disney World, Remy can sell out really early, and Frozen, and, you're really having to be a lot more strategic with, we used to have to be a lot more strategic with Disney World. They've changed the whole system now, so you're pre-booking 3 rides, and we'll see how all that turns out. But I'm finding that this Disneyland, we're going to just be able to kind of get one and then get another and not worry about, oh, I should have gotten that one first because it runs out. Okay. So if we scroll down again, they kind of show that data of the return times with how many minutes until your return time. Again, that's kind of just similar data. But then let's look here at the wait time heat map. And if we zoom in here, we can see, they really have Radiator Springs just like immediately is a long wait. So we're going to try to use early entry for Radiator Springs racers. And then, or buy a lightning lane for that, a single pass, as we call it now. Other than that, there's not a lot of red on here, except for Guardians. We're seeing that. And, but you know what? Grizzly River Run, it is the summer, and that is a water ride. So I'm not surprised that one has some good weights. And Soarin' does. So anyways, just really good for me, especially if you've never been to a park before, to get an idea of what rides you need to prioritize. All right, everyone, that's it for today. I just hope you found this helpful. I found this website awesome, but a little overwhelming at first. I just wanted to show you how I used it. I'm really excited for our Disneyland trip in 2 weeks, so stay tuned for more Disney videos, and please like and subscribe for more Disney.